The coronavirus disease 2019, also called COVID-19, first appeared in people in December 2019. It is a virus that can be passed from person to person and has spread quickly around the world. It affects the respiratory system and in some cases can cause problems in the lungs like pneumonia. The disease was foreign to Zimbabwean borders until the 21st of March 2020, when the first case was confirmed and announced by the former health minister, Dr. Obadiah Moyo.
We call for the nation to be calm as we deal with this first case of COVID-19 in Zimbabwe.
This set precedence to a total lockdown, as was pronounced by the President, Emmerson Mnangagwa, who declared this a national disaster.
Starting Monday, 30th March 2020, and subject to further review, Zimbabwe will be under a total lockdown for a period of 21 days. This means all our citizens are required to stay at home, except, of course, in respect of essential movements related to seeking health services, to the purchase and procurement of food and medicines, and for other essential supplies and critical services.
Life as we know it would change. Statutory Instrument 83 of 2020 proclaimed, however, that essential services would remain at work, although for limited hours. Amongst these services are services relating to the production, supply, delivery, and distribution of food, in particular supermarkets and food retail stores. Because of its novel nature, a lot of literature was spread around, some true and some false, which largely created a problem. People did not know what to do. This included the shop owners.
We received an anonymous letter from our membership with the allegations that there were about 19 employees who have been tested positive on COVID-19. But unfortunately, the employer didn't want to disclose the matter to the relevant authority. We quickly then notified the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Union, our National Labour Center, who then advised the Minister of Labour about the issue. The Minister of Labour welcomed our concern and responded positively. We visited the workplace together with some other stakeholders without notifying or without alerting both the employer and the employee for the purpose of obtaining what was on the ground.
The food and allied sector has its workers represented by the Food Federation and Allied Workers Union of Zimbabwe, FFAWUZ. Formed in 1995, FFAWUZ is affiliated to the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions. It is also a member of the International Union of Food, the global union for all food sector unions with strong links to stakeholders like 3F. The threat was real and they had to act.
FFAWUZ, the National Executive Committee, held a constitutional meeting pursuant to these anonymous letters and came up with a robust decision for the safety of the workers in the food industry.
Key stakeholders within the food and allied sector took part in inspections that ascertained and guaranteed that the set out guidelines by the World Health Organization were followed religiously.
Our role was technical. Technical in the sense that we needed to make sure that we guided the process. We needed to make sure that at TNF level we scaled up the inspection processes within different workplaces in the food federation sectors. Needed to make sure that we monitored to what extent is the level of compliance within different employers, to what extent have they really complied. So this is what we were doing, and also making sure that we complemented their efforts in terms of awareness creation or raising within the workplaces. Because sometimes you come across very stubborn employers who will tell you that there's a lot we are doing, but at the same time subjecting workers to unfair labor standards, working conditions, exposing them to environments or workplaces that have not been disinfected, workplaces that have confirmed COVID-19 cases but not even adhering to SI 174, where if a case is confirmed, the organization has to shut down and disinfect that environment and have everyone tested for COVID-19.
COVID guidelines, as we were inspecting them, I would not really call it an inspection the way it was carried out. The FFAWUZ and the ZC2 and the NEC team came there as a learning team. It was a give and take situation. People were discussing. The observation that we got was that the employees, as the employees always be, were not satisfied with what the companies were doing. Some would really tell you, we're getting A, B, C, D, but we're not getting A, B, C, D, where the employer would have told you that we're giving them all that is required by the COVID-19 guidelines. But however, the general observation would be, it went quite well. The give and take situation that the union was showing, because we're not going there to intimidate or rather to just inspect, it was there to show them where they are lacking. You give them advice on what to improve and what to add and what to do where circumstances would not allow maybe for people to do a certain guideline. There are some guidelines maybe that people would say we can't really have social distancing of 2 meters because a person is packing milk. Let's assume milk. The packaging of milk is here. The next person that you're supposed to give is there. So there are some things that people were just discussing and agreeing on how it can be done without really affecting and infecting the individuals who are involved.
We conscientized them about the issue of COVID-19, that they know most companies and the workers, that protecting workers and their families from the risk of infection of COVID-19 needed to be their top priority.
Basically, we as an organization, having rolled out this program, we wanted to check on compliance and preparedness of our member companies, workers and membership, as well as our staff members for the trade union on COVID-19. It was very critical and important in that this program we were augmenting and also complementing the efforts which were pronounced by the Ministry of Health and Child Care, as well as the World Health Organization in respect or as with regards to the response to the pandemic. So in short, it was very, very important and critical to sensitize our membership, to educate our membership about this new phenomenon or pandemic.
Generally, there tends to be passive resistance from employees when communication of any sort cascades from their employer downwards. But because of the serious nature of COVID-19, FFAWUZ had to pacify and bridge the gap decisively.
Vashandi they've got fear kana chinhu chichiuya na employer, but if chichiuya on the union side vashandi vanoteerera zvakanyanya, and even maplacards vaiwisa vachitry kufundisa nezvecovid aibatsira vashandi pavanenge vasinganzwisisi. Then we opened a platform FFAWUZ where we discuss most of these challenges. Pavane challenge tinoshare on that platform.
Varidzi vekambani vakagamuchira zvine mufaro nokuti kazhinji kacho ivo havakwanisi kuti vakwanise kuunganidza munhu nemunhu kuti ngatidzidzisanei. Havaigona kugara pasi naeveryone kana kutora kuti vachidzidzisa munhu nhasi mangwana time inenge iri shoma.
It gave confidence to workers that regardless of advocating for workers' rights and workers' interests, we also concerned in terms of their safety, because this issue of COVID-19 is a national crisis, a pandemic that has disturbed the world over. So they now believe in our gospel when we are advocating for things to do with occupational safety and health.
But what are some of the interventions propounded for and introduced within the sector?
We have developed a program not only to comply with the government regulations but also to safeguard the health of our employees. We have the most important thing is access control. As we get into our premises,
there has been general compliance by both employers and employees in the food sector, because you find that in all the workplaces that we visited, there is provision for the temperature checks upon entry, there is sanitization upon entry, and all the employees, their face masks.
Tinaye procedures atakadzidziswa atakatoona kuti akabatsira vanhu kunyanya dzimba dzavo kuti tinofanirwa kusanitiziwa, togeza maoko every 15 minutes, tichigeza nzvimbo dzatinoshandira dzinenge dziri cleanliness savanhu vanobata food.
The employers too were glad that the initiative took off. Zimbabwe's second largest city, Bulawayo, is home to the United Refineries Limited. They are an agro-commodities manufacturer and exporter of edible oils as well as mayonnaise. With a strong workforce of above 300 employees, they strive to make the workplace a safe environment for their key resource, human capital.
When FFAWUZ has got ideas that they have, we listen. This is a novel disease. We don't know it. No one is experienced to say, I know everything about it. Some ideas that we had when we started have changed because of the information that has come through. And we got a few ideas from FFAWUZ that has made us change. I can give examples to say, you see, this organization now is technically divided into three. We have separated employees into three sections. It looks as one as you look at it, but we have three sections such that if any employee from the other section is infected, it does not spread to the other sections, as well as it does not mean we have to close the entire business.
This visit by the three individual entities has been appreciated, and we are currently, we temperature and sanitize all employees and customers that come onto the property, and we're looking at getting a counsellor and some training to deal with any infected employees on our wage and salary staff.
Are you an employee in the food industry? Have you thought about life beyond COVID-19? Have you thought about the inevitability of changes in the industry?
The use of various media to communicate issues of safety in the workplace has been key in the campaign of prevention against COVID-19. It has been instrumental in driving towards behavior change not only in the workplace but at home too.
The media at large, social media that we have it, maybe in we mostly use social, WhatsApp and email. So most of the information that came through email was so informative. The ones that came through the radios, it was educative as well, because we didn't see, we just heard. At the same time, we had those updates that were coming via email from Tongat at large. The whole Tongat group will send us updates on the effects of COVID-19. So the impact that helped a lot in the event that if one doesn't get information on WhatsApp, we get it on email, and then you can get it on radio as well.
Ama-posters lawa awele mfundiso kakhulu. Abantu okwaqala njengento yabi into entsha iyabiqalisekile abantu baqasa ngawuzwisisi, but ngokuhamba kwesikhathi abantu befundiswa lokuhlala belokho bekhangelile kwesikhathi into ebonayo iyafundisa kakhulu kulento yabuyizwa. So abantu wawamkela kakhulu ngoba kabe kutshengisa ukuthi ngestage ukuthi ama-mask agqokwa kanjani, ugeza izandla zakho kanjani, lokuthi nxa abantu lisima kumele lehlukane kanjani.
There's need for education to the employees, how best they can protect themselves against COVID-19 and how best they can make sure that they are safe. Those imposters are very important.
It helped all employees to find a better way of protecting each person, protecting himself from conducting this pandemic.
My message anopinda my phone. It's easy for us to kurumidze kumaona and then total action against that disease, to fight it together.
To me, it was like an eye opener because some of the things we didn't know.
Vanhu vaikwanisa kuziviswa chero vanenge vari kumba, chero vanenge vari kupi vanokwanisa kuziviswa, chero tisingazokwanisi kusongana, like zvaiminimizawo kusongana kwavanhu.
It goes without saying that any initiative will come with challenges.
Some workers belong to this union, the other one, and the Mama unions, the 3 unions. So they thought that it's a campaign gimmick by the unions which are affiliated to ZCTU. So we had an instance where we had to explain to those employees that no, this thing is just it's a tripartite negotiating forum.
We were hoping maybe like the radio station could have prolonged it longer.
Some of us guys, we don't have access to the media, so we have to have some improvement in giving the information.
Any action is a good action if it is proactive. FFAWUZ recast the current coronavirus outbreak in Zimbabwe that has seen close to 8,000 confirmed cases and set it into proactive goals. The result? A happy, safe food and allied sector.
Vasati vauya tingati vanhu vanga vasingaudzwi vaiudzwa vashandi, asi kuti vamwe vanhu vanenge vasingazvitori serious. Pavakazona union yauya vanhu vakati saka union yenyu ine chekuita futi nekuchengetedza utano hwevashandi. Saka vanhu vakabva vatanga kunyatsozitora serious. Even my employers, zvinhu zvatakatora nguva tichikumbira tipewo mabhazi edu isusu tisakwire mazuku ko public transport, takatora 3 months. Pavakangobva takabva tanzwa kuti mastaff bus akuzouya, takwanisa kuti tiwane mastaff bus anokutakurai.
The employers were quite accommodating. They were trying their best to secure the safety of the employees.
And to the worker, a brief message.
Employers can only go that far. We can only assist them in as far as providing them with resources to protect themselves. But it's up to them to use those resources.
COVID is real, COVID is there, and COVID is killing. So let's just take the precautionary measures.
Amandla.
Nawetu.
Amandla.
Nawetu.
Iwana Sumari.